Holy Thursday. Holy Thursday, it's a special time. In the third week of the spiritual exercises, we are following Christ through the different steps of his passion. Today, with you, I want to go and repeat and focus some of the scene of this so important day in the Christian tradition. A day centered on the institution of the Eucharist and priestly ordination and following Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane and in the darkest night of his life. I want to develop with you and for you the scene about the Last Supper according to what a great artist, Beato Angelico, offered us in one of his masterpieces. There are three of these scenes. The first, service. Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. And Jesus in this way is showing us what it means to be a true leader. The second is the supper in itself, according to the three Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The previous scene, it's in the Gospel of St. John. At the center, and we can see in a second image of the Last Supper, at the center of the table, the Lamb of God. Jesus is teaching us that we are not just sharing what we have. Jesus is teaching us to share what we are. There are so many ways of representing these capital scenes of our salvation. And I want to introduce you to a mysterious one. Because in several frescoes in the north of Italy, mainly in a city called Feltre, where myself and Jim Grammer, during the summer, we are giving the long retreat, the initiation month of spiritual exercises, there is a representation of the Last Supper, and on the table there are shrimps. Oh, that's so odd. But there is a theologically interesting point, because according to what they thought at the time, the shrimps, they look to walk backwards. And they represent heretics, people that didn't focus or understood in a correct way the scene of the Last Supper. I like this representation very much, because even if some people, they don't get the deep meaning of the Last Supper, even if in their consideration regarding this great mystery, they can make mistakes, they can make some misunderstanding. Jesus is keeping all around him. Jesus is there for the multitude, for the humanity, for everybody. In the second part of this meditation about Holy Thursday, I want now to move your attention on the Garden of the Gethsemane and to contemplate the mystery of the Holy Agony. There are many classical, devotional, theological approach to this mystery, and I want just to offer to your consideration a very capital meditation done centuries ago by a very famous saint, Thomas More, who wrote a book called De Tristitia Christi. You can see the cover of one of the editions of this book. That's a typical, well-educated, full of wisdom approach to help us in following Christ, even in this so dark time. But I want to propose to you a second way to be with Christ and to enjoy the grace that comes from such a deep and complex mystery. I want to propose to you a spiritual challenge, because in the mystery of the Gethsemane, we have to accept that Christ is carrying our obscurity, our emptiness, the disillusion that sometimes comes with adult life. Obscurity, emptiness, and disillusion of our lives, but as well the one of our current time. And I want to do this introducing a monument of the US art, the famous Rothko Chapel in Houston. It was built in the same time I was born, in the 70s. And is an image of what we are doing in terms of Gregorian University Foundation, because in this chapel, in the way where art is displayed, we have the traces of a college donor, of an Italian architect, of a European collection of art, in a typical American setting with one of the major US artists. In this chapel, as you can see, what is outside is so different from what you can find inside. And the mystery of Passion is like that. It's very dull outside. It's very hard to get in. But when you get in, there is a treasure waiting for us. There is a richness of grace. But getting in this chapel, there is a big surprise, because we see something very original, of course, typical of the last work, and these are the last work of Rothko. No distractions. But the natural life in this obscurity, because all these paintings are done with very dark colors. There are no images. It's something that it's revealing to ourselves, showing us the deepness of our heart. But natural life is coming from the height. Outside, no significant traits, but inside, a spiritual universe that is also a very dull scenario. Again, all is simple. And we have 14 paintings. All the other furnitures are removable, are just there for display purpose, to help the tourist or the people visiting this chapel to spend some time immersing themselves in this mystery of obscurity and light. Heavy, dark colors in huge quantity. And sometimes I think that our life, especially in the mature seasons of our existence, it's like that. And there is another image of what I think the Gregorian University Foundation is. Because the architecture, the scheme, the way these paintings are on display are taken from Italian Renaissance. So the architecture is similar, and it talks about something of the beauty of the Italian Renaissance, but the content, but the great challenge the spiritual enterprise, the meditation in this deepness of the human soul, it's an opera from the United States. The space, this dark space, signed with this light from the height, became sacred and feminine step by step, emerging ourselves like Christ is emerging in the mystery of the darkness and the agony related to human condition. Step by step, this journey into the deepness is becoming, thanks to God, thanks to the grace, a path of rebirth. To see darkness of our life, it's something that happens. And there are pages of our biography that means exactly this. We have at this point a dilemma. Are we at the top of a conquest? Because this light, it's crossing this obscurity. Or we are at the risk of becoming part of this obscurity surrounding us. This is the dilemma of the human condition. Well, there is a way out that comes from the mysteries of Holy Thursday. Because the light in itself has no color. The color is given by what the light is meeting, is crossing. So our darkness, what we can experience in the drama of life, is becoming a way to give a color to this life. So our existence, our challenges, our projects are giving color to the darkness and obscurity that is part of the human condition. This is part of the great mystery of the Holy Thursday. It's not an easy meditation. It's not a simple contemplation. It's much more. It's changing what for the world is just desperation from something that is giving back hope to our existence, to our community, to the people that we have the grace to meet in our lives.